Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another amazing episode, amazing podcast, Slav's Free Talk Podcast. It's right, I'm back, and we got some things to go over. WWE making its official move to Netflix tonight. I want to talk about that. Charlie Cox may have been spoiled in an upcoming Marvel movie. Got some Nintendo Switch 2 leaks, maybe? I don't know. We'll talk about that. The Batman 2 has been confirmed to start filming this year by Matt Reeves himself. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Maybe some other stuff, but the main topic of the day will be what movies, 5 movies. I'm going to talk about 5 movies that I believe will have the potential, absolute potential. Like, these are the 5 movies that, without a doubt, have the most potential to make $1 billion at the box office this year. So, let's dive in. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. We got Otito. Hello, Slav. How's it going? We got Jalen. What's going on, Jalen? And I'm sure other people will start to move in to the show as we move forward. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It was an interesting weekend on my side of the, not really weekend, beginning of the week on my side of the coast here in America. We got quite the snowstorm. There's about like 6 or 7, maybe even like 8 inches of snow out there. Yeah, it's pretty crazy outside right now. I've shoveled like twice, and shoveled my mom's place twice also. It's crazy. Hate snow. Man, I hate snow. Trayvon's here. He says, fresh off my Law and Order binge. What's up? Hope for Life is here. Hey, everyone. How are you? What's going on? We're good. Oh, I'm good. I can't speak for everybody else. I mean, as good as I can be with all this damn snow. Sorry, I hate snow. Absolutely hate snow. Hate it. Hate it. All right, let's kind of dive in because I really want to get to the main topic today because I think it's real fun. I love talking about the potential of what's to come in the upcoming year. So I'm excited about that. Mano's time is here. Hello, Slav. How are you? I'm good. How are you? All right, so let's kind of jump in to the news topics that I want to talk about. Then we'll get into the main topic. This kind of popped up earlier today. Thought it was really interesting. And I'm only bringing this up. This wasn't something I planned to talk about, but this was really, really interesting. Will Smith posted on social media today. In 1997, the Wachowskis offered Will Smith the role of Neo in The Matrix. Smith turned it down. He chose Wild Wild West. Terrible choice. Anyways, believing it was a better fit for him at the time. But the question remains, what would The Matrix have been like with Will Smith as Neo? And then, wake up, Will, ... And it was very Matrix-esque, similar to how, with the typing on the computer like it was in The Matrix. And this is something that Will Smith posted himself. And it got people talking, got people thinking, like, what could this be? What could this mean? Is there a Matrix movie being made or coming, or is he going to be in it? I think a lot of people understand this is probably some kind of promotion for a Super Bowl ad, most likely. However, if this is some kind of reveal for an upcoming Matrix movie, my interest is piqued. Look, this last Matrix movie that came out, whatever the hell it was called, was terrible. It was absolutely atrocious. It was horrendous. I'm a big fan of the Matrix trilogy. Look, the first one, without a doubt, is phenomenal. The second and the third one, look, they are what they are. They're not great, but they're fun stories. It is a fun trilogy to enjoy, to sit back, and it has some really great religious undertones to them and really cool message that you can definitely get from those films. And I actually have a video that I need to finish editing for my Pop Culture and the Bible series that I like to do around the Matrix. So once I finish that, I am going to get that posted. But regardless, the Matrix, I really enjoy the series. The last one was terrible. So if they do another one with Will Smith, I gotta say it can't be any worse than that one, right? Right? But I think people are on like right on here because a lot of people are saying this is probably just for a Super Bowl ad. This is around the time when those little teases for Super Bowl ads start to come into play. But I'm going to tell you this: look, if this does end up being some sort of Matrix project, whether it's a TV show or movie or animated show or something, whatever it could be, Matrix wise, if it does end up being something like that, I'm all for it. And look, I know what happened to Will Smith a few years ago at the Academy Awards, and I know that whole thing that happened. And there's some people who still hold that against him. And to be completely honest with you, I never I never looked at that as something to like destroy his career. I really didn't think it was all that bad. First off, granted, look, Jada Pinkett Smith, whatever you feel about her, I don't like her. I think what she's done to the man, how she's treated the man, whatever, what have you. It is what it is. But in his eyes, he was defending his woman's honor. And again, regardless how you take that situation, should he have done it that way? No. But should his career have been destroyed and everything happened the way that it did? No, I think was taken a little too far from it. I think he's more than paid for what happened. So to me, at this point, I'm willing and excited to see Will Smith make a comeback in some form or fashion. So I want to see it. And again, if this ends up being some kind of Matrix movie of some sort, I'm all for it. Let's go. I'm willing to see it. Let's go. But if it's not, if it's just some kind of Super Bowl ad, it is what it is. Let's see how that plays out. But again, let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you guys think because I think this is really interesting. I think it can be cool if it is a Matrix movie or project of some sort. If not, it is what it is. And here's the crazy thing. I've always thought about this. I think there's one of two things. I think they should either reboot The Matrix. I do. I think they should reboot it completely, start from scratch, not have the Wachowskis involved if possible. I don't know what kind of rights controls they have to it, if they have any rights or control to the rights at all. But if they cannot have the Wachowskis attached to it, because I think that's what really screwed up this last one is because one, it was only one of the Wachowskis involved. Two, their modern day views on life really got pushed into that movie. But two, reboot it, new cast and everything, and take a different approach with it. I think that's a really good idea for it. If you don't want to do that, I think another really cool idea would be to go and get Will Smith and do like a prequel and go way back in the past and do the Neo story with Will Smith, but back in the past. I think that would be kind of cool. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you think about what Will Smith posted here. If you think it's legit, if you think it's a Super Bowl ad, what have you. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys got here? Hope for Life says, you're not the only one who hates snow at work. I got to shovel and salt the sidewalks every time we have snow. Well, that sucks. I'd hate to do that. Jalen says, Bills to the Super Bowl, baby. This coming from a Raiders fan. Sadly, not a fan of the Matrix series, but Will Smith being in it is interesting. Probably won't watch it, but it's interesting. Otito says, so happy I traveled. Nothing but sun here. Where'd you travel to, man? Manos time. No one cared, but that slap, the success of Bad Boys Ride or Die proved it. See, I believe it or not, I wanted to watch the last two Bad Boys movies, and I still haven't gotten around to it. The last two, like, believe it or not, like what was it, the fourth one? Not the last one, the one before that was the fourth one, right? Or was it the third one? I don't know. I wanted to watch it, and I was like, man, I want to watch that. And then before I knew it, this last one came out, and I was like, what? And just, man, I tell you what, it's crazy. Critic Chris says, I don't know why Will would do Wild Wild West, but not a sequel to ID4 other than pay issues. Well, first off, the Independence Day 4 sequel was way, way, way later down the line. You got to remember that. Wild Wild West was a totally different time. Like Independence Day came out in what, 97, 96, something like that. I don't remember when that was. And then Wild Wild West was after the first Independence Day. And there was no plan for a second Independence Day at that point. So it was just kind of moving forward. And he was like, Wild Wild West. He had the option for Wild Wild West or Matrix, and he chose Wild Wild West, which was not a very good choice. But then way down the line, when ID, Independence Day, ID4 2, whatever you want to call it, was, you know, in development, he just didn't want to do it. I mean, it is what it is. Jalen says, Will Smith back to DCU, Slav? I don't know about that. I don't think he's going to ever come back to the DC film verse at all. I don't see it happening. I kind of wish that he would have had a better, like, remember years ago they were talking about doing a Deadshot movie and stuff like that. That would have been cool to see. I think that only would have happened if we would have actually seen the actual Ayer cut of the movie where we actually see his and Harley's relationship and seen more of him. I think it was a lot of Ayer really pushing that idea, but when everything got changed, I think that all changed as well. Critic Chrissy says, seeing Tarantino spit his drink and facial expressions from other celebs was priceless. Trayvon says, I wonder if Zaslav sees The Matrix in the same light as he sees DC, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter. By the way, go Lions. Man of his time. The only bad thing about the Bad Boys franchise is that the third one is called Bad Boys for Life, and the last one is Bad Boys Ride or Die. I mean, names really matter on some movies. Sometimes they don't. I mean, look at the Fast series. Look at the Fast series and those names. None of those names make sense. None of them. Trevon says Independence Day came in 96. That's what I thought. It was like 90, 96, 97. Yeah, 96 makes sense. All right. Moving on. Oh, wait. Critic Chris, real quick, says, I don't know about ID4 2. Would have been better if he was in it, but still, ID4 was one of his best films. I agree. How for Life says, I wonder if Independence Day will ever get a third film. After how bad the second one was, do you really want a third movie of that? I don't think so. I don't. All right. So, I don't know if any of you are WWE wrestling fans, but I am, and I'm over the moon and excited about tonight because I don't know if you know this, but this is actually some pretty big news in the entertainment world. This is a huge, huge move, and it is finally taking place tonight. WWE has moved its Raw program, WWE Raw, Monday Night Raw. They are moving it to Netflix, and tonight is the first episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. And then this was a massive deal when it was announced last year. And tonight is the first episode. And this, coming from comicbook.com, says WWE's Monday Night Raw is about to step into a new era, as tonight Raw will stream live on Netflix, and it's shaping up to be quite the event. Not only are there several big-time matches, but fans are expecting a few major surprises and perhaps even a major return or two throughout the night. An episode like that deserves an equally epic introduction, and we've got our exclusive first look at the cold open. I'm not going to play the cold open, but it is really, really cool. Look, I'm going to tell you this. The reason why this is huge, Netflix is streaming, and we talk about this all the time. Streaming is in a very interesting place right now because if you think about it, it wasn't long ago that it was 2020. All these studios thought that streaming was the future, that streaming was going to catapult the studios into the future of entertainment. But the one constant that has always been there has been Netflix for the last decade. All these other studios failed. They failed at doing so. And whether it's Warner Brothers with HBO Max and then now Max, or Peacock and NBC and Universal, or CBS Paramount with Paramount Plus, all of these studios have been finding ways to, change the way that they got into streaming. Disney, look at Disney. Their price has gone up like 500 times the original cost at this point. It's insane what these costs have been. Not only that, but a lot of the promises that they made early on just have kind of disappeared, or all these ideas of fresh new content for these streamers aren't there, or no ad support, no need for ads. It's all going to be on what you pay. And now all these ad supported tiers are there. So many different things are happening, and it's getting out of hand if you really think about it. But now we take a look and we look at Netflix and we see that for the last decade, they've been the steady, consistent one in the streaming area. Like, they haven't changed. Sure, their prices has gone up. Trust me, their price is over $20 now, I think, but they've never really changed the way they handle things. Is all their content great? No, but they still have great shows. I mean, look back as far like their first big hit, House of Cards, was phenomenal. I love that show. That's still one of my favorite shows of all time was House of Cards until Kevin Spacey had to go and screw up and not be in the final season. That's an amazing show. But there's so much that Netflix has done right. Stranger Things. And what else is there? You know, they picked up Cobra Kai. Things like that they've done has been perfect and amazing. But something else that's amazing is WWE. WWE, for the better part of almost 50 years now, 40 years now, has been at the forefront of sports entertainment. And look, I'll admit, I mean, for the better part of my life, I haven't been paying attention to WWE. When I was a kid, I absolutely did in the 90s. I was a big part of watching wrestling. I was more of a WCW guy, but I knew what was going on in the WWF at the time. I knew what was happening. I knew the Monday Night Wars. I was all a part of that. I was loving it. But they were very, very active with what was going on in television. And that's been a big part of what WWE has been for their entire existence is anytime there's been a change with how entertainment is going in the entertainment world when it comes to what is available in the home, they've been right there at the forefront. So this change that is taking place today where Raw is going on Netflix, going to be the first weekly weekly what's it called? Streaming sports entertainment show. That's a huge deal. So we're going to see how this works out for Netflix and the WWE, obviously. I'm excited about it. There's some big changes. It's live every week, a live show on Netflix. Netflix is obviously there's going to be, you figure there's going to be some hiccups along the way. You figure that there's going to be some things that people aren't going to like, that they are going to like. How are they going to handle certain things? But tonight is the night, guys. I'm excited. I don't know if you guys are. I don't know if you're a big fan of it, but I have to say, if this goes well for Netflix, because they've been the big constant for the last decade or so, this is a step in a direction for Netflix that they could take another step and we could start getting more. Like they got the football games on Christmas Day. And then, they had the Tyson fight a couple months ago. All of these things are leading to Netflix doing more live events, doing more live things. And they're going to be a real competitor and a real force to reckon with. And that's only good for the streaming wars. Is it good for us as consumers? Yes and no. I mean, when it comes to cost and price, that could be a good or bad thing. But what it can be a good thing for is content. And it comes down to we want good content and we always want good content. And the ideas and the things that they're talking about for the different types of cameras and drones and camera angles and different things like that for this, other companies, other studios, other production companies are going to adapt and adopt those types of things for football, for baseball, for hockey. It's exciting. Like when you start doing stuff like this, it only gets better for the fans. So I'm excited about it. I don't know if you guys are, but let me know your thoughts in the comments about all this because I think it's a cool thing. I really do. All right, what are you saying over here? Not much because it looks like you guys aren't too excited about WWE. Sorry. Trayvon says, no wonder NBC Universal told USA Network and its other cable networks except Bravo to get lost. Trayvon says, bundles to save the day. At least Max, Hulu, Disney Plus, and Paramount Plus are decently making money. Yeah, I mean, somewhat. Hope for Life. I'm more concerned about losing DC content on Max since Teen Titans is on Prime now. Makes me wonder what other DC content is going to be taken and distributed to other companies piece by piece. I think when it comes to content being taken off of, say, Max, and I think the only company you're not going to see doing this much is going to be Disney because they're such a huge conglomerate and have so much money, but you may see them doing it as well. But I think when it comes to like Max and stuff like that, they can make more money on licensing their content out still. So if it's an old movie or an old animated show and they think, hey, Amazon wants to pay us a few, $100,000 or a few $1,000s to put this up on their streamer for 6 months, then they'll do it. And it's more money, especially if they know it's not that isn't going to be drawing people to their service, then they may do that. And it isn't always just one, you know, movie. Typically, it's a package of movies. So they'll say, "Oh, we want a package of these 50 movies or these 50, streaming things. So whether it's shows and movies, and we'll pay you X amount of money to put them on our service for 6 months or 12 months or 18 months." And they'll come up with deals like that. And Warner Brothers will say, sure, we'll sign off on that. Again, it's to help them make money. And again, Warner Brothers isn't the only one that does that. NBC, Universal does it. Paramount will be doing it. Everybody, like I said, the only one that you probably won't see do that is Disney, because they don't really have to, because they make the most money out of everybody when it comes to this stuff, or have the most money somehow. I don't understand how, but yeah. Critic Chris says, I'm old school WWF and would be worth getting Netflix if they signed with WWE to stream older matches. Oh, they do have older matches on there. They launched on January 1st, like a vault, and they have some older stuff on there. It's not going to be all their older stuff, and they're going to kind of rotate stuff through, but it is on there. Otito says, is The Rock a bad actor? Is he a good actor? What he plays all the time. What was the only connection to wrestling I had? Gotcha. He's not a great actor, but he's fun to watch. Hope for Life. I see Trayvon. My concern was that DC was going to end up like Marvel when it was being sold off until Disney bought it and started putting it back together. I don't think DC will be like that ever. Chris, I don't think Disney can own both DC and Marvel. They've been trying to buy everything. I mean, technically they could. I mean, there's nothing that's really stopping them. I mean, technically they could, but all right, moving on. So there was a huge Avengers Doomsday casting leak by Jim's social media post. And I mean, is it really that big? Spoilers for Avengers Doomsday, people. Sorry, but this has kind of been all over the internet, so I felt I need to talk about it. Yes, that's right. Robert Downey Jr. is going to... I was kidding. So Charlie Cox, he plays Daredevil in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Daredevil Born Again is coming out in just 5-6 weeks, something like that. No, what is it? Is it the end? It's the beginning of March, so probably like 8 weeks or something. But anyway, he has been at a gym in, I believe, Australia, working out, and the gym is called, what's it called here? Different, DFRNT. It's different. I don't know. And they posted on Instagram, it's been awesome having Charlie and his wife, Sam Cox, in a different over the past few weeks. Charlie is currently training for his role in the upcoming Marvel Avengers movie where he'll play Daredevil. So, does that mean it's going to be Avengers Doomsday, or does it mean it's Avengers Secret Wars? We don't know. But they kind of let slip that he is working out for an Avengers movie. Yeah, so that kind of happened. Look, I think it's kind of been, understood, like, hey, we're getting Charlie Cox Daredevil in an Avengers movie, especially with the big buildup that they've been talking about with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. We kind of knew that this was going to be just another big event film or a big event Avenger movies like it was with Infinity War and Endgame, if not bigger. I know that they're probably going to try and make it even bigger than that, even though there was not very good buildup for it. But Charlie Cox's Daredevil is a huge fan favorite, so much so that they've sprinkled him in here and there for the last 5 years now. And they're now giving him a show, and it's obvious that they're going to put him in an Avengers movie. I mean, it's no big surprise. The fact that he went ahead and spoiled this, just, what was this, back at the end of December, beginning of January, whatever it was, is a little ridiculous. You would think that Charlie Cox would have had the gym sign some sort of NDA or something like that. Like, you can't post this, and it's crazy. And the fact that it hasn't been taken down yet is another thing. But here's the kicker. Maybe this was all a plan. Maybe this is how they wanted it to get out there. Who knows? Because Disney and Marvel can be that ridiculous sometimes and just let things get out in a weird way. I don't know. Maybe this was all a marketing ploy to get people talking about Charlie Cox's Daredevil, leading up to the Daredevil show coming out in a couple months. Who knows? Again, it's is it really a big surprise or shocker that he's going to be in an Avengers movie, though? Like, think about it. We knew we're getting a season 2. There's been talk that there's going to be a season 2 of the Daredevil show. So we know he's not going to die in this show. Again, is it a shock? Like, there's no surprise here. People love him. People want to see more of him. Like, come on. Like, really, think about it, people. Think about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, though. Again, it's just shocking that this different gym decided to post that. It's just very shocking. It really is. Otito says, Daredevil better bring Marvel up a bit. Losing streak with What If, Friendly Neighborhood looks nasty, and now Brave New World. You know, I don't have anything about Brave New World because that stuff dropped after I planned this show. But my goodness, does what we've seen, those little spots that popped up on social media today, do they look bad? So bad. Wow, that movie. I've been saying it. That movie is not gonna. It's not gonna do well. It's not gonna do well. Otito continues. Remember the crazy amount of projects this year? Apparently, quality over quantity was lip service. Yeah, it's nuts. Critic Chris, I wonder if Doomsday and Secret Wars will be made similar to Infinity War Endgame. Well, originally Infinity War and Endgame were going to be shot back to back and well together as one, and then back to back, but then they kind of separated it a little bit. So I don't know if they're going to do that similar. I still think this is all a mistake, what they're doing here. That's just me. I don't know. I have a bad feeling about it. I do. Jalen says Daredevil is going to be the first one to get his ass beat by Dr. Doom. I'm sorry. I love him, but come on. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, wouldn't be surprised. All right, moving on. Well, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch 2 leak shows the new Joy-Con controller in all its glory. So I don't know if you know this, but we're getting a new Nintendo Switch here probably within the next 12 months sometime. Now, if you take a look here, this is a picture of what has leaked. This is credit to @McCrush. On the right side is the current Nintendo Switch controller. On the left is the new leaked version. It's a little bit larger, but there's some interesting things that you'll see here. One is it doesn't have the same slide technology where you kind of slide it into the dock or to the, like, on the side of the screen. It has little magnets on the side here that kind of just snaps on with a magnet. And then right here supposedly has like a little laser thing like on the bottom of a mouse. So they're thinking that you might be able to use it like a mouse somehow. Maybe that's a possibility. I also don't really know what this is here. And then you got your little button here to I guess pair it with the device, and then you got your buttons on the side here. So that's right now a leak of what we see. Here we go. This is it from the bottom. The triggers look a little bit more, a little bigger, and so on. And if people are questioning, like, is this a legit leak? Is this really a leak of the controller? Well, an interesting thing is somebody, is this, oh, there's the mouse thing. Did I not put it up here? I didn't put it up here. Somebody took the serial number that's on the mouse, on the side of the controller, and went to Nintendo's website to register it, and it went through and worked, which is really interesting that it actually was able to register. So people are thinking that it's legit, that, you know, putting in the serial number, you were able to register this controller on their website. When you get down to it, guys, like it looks like this might be a leak in what we might be getting for the Nintendo Switch 2, at least controller wise. And here's the thing: when are they going to announce this? There's been talk about this for months and months and months. People thought it was going to be announced back last summer. People thought it would be released this past winter. I don't know. Like, you would think that they want to get it out as soon as possible. At this point, the last one came out in 2017. So we're 7 years now since the last one released. It's crazy. Can you believe that Switch came out in 2017? It's been that long. So we're 7 years into the Switch. It's nuts. I have a feeling though that it's going to come out, or at least an announcement, probably come March. February or March is my guess for an announcement. Maybe sooner, but I can't see them going any sooner than that for an announcement. I don't know, but it's interesting. What do you guys think? Obviously, with the bigger controller, obviously will probably mean a bigger screen. I don't know if I like the magnetic aspect of it being connected magnetically. I don't know. There's some things I don't like about it, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe this isn't accurate. Maybe it's just a prototype. I don't know. We'll find out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, though. Jalen says, so basically like a iPhone thing where we get a new iPhone every year. So the company says it's different than the last, but everybody knows it's just the same thing, but it's Nintendo Switch 2. Well, again, we haven't gotten a Nintendo Switch or a new Nintendo for 7 years. So it's not like it's like the iPhone. So that's definitely different. I mean, I could sit here and say, like, the iPhone, while yeah, it's the same look every year, they do change things in it. They update it, they upgrade it in some form or fashion. I'm a big iPhone guy, so I realize and understand the things that they change and upgrade and update in it. But with this, I mean, 7 years difference. Imagine what they can do to it. I don't know. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I have 3 Switches in my household. My kids have them. I have one sitting on my desk here. They're a lot of fun. I want to see. It's 7 years. That's all I'm saying. 7 years. I got an Xbox sitting right here. I mean, this thing is way more powerful than this. It's kind of like, come on, like, give me something that's going to be not 7 years old at this point, is all I'm saying. Mano's Time says, do you think it'll be backwards compatible? Some of the rumors are saying it will be, which will be nice because Nintendo isn't known for doing that. They typically like to screw over their customers in that way, at least to a certain point. Because what they'll do is they'll, at least with their cartridges and stuff like that, they won't make them backwards compatible all the time. Sometimes they do, but not always. But at least from a cartridge standpoint, I hope they do, especially if they make the same rough design. I don't see why they won't, stick with backwards compatibility. Now, if you're somebody who just goes digitally, I don't see why they can't. If you're someone that's solely like digital, like I am for the most part, there's no reason why anything that I've bought digitally shouldn't work on a console moving forward. Like if I bought all my Xbox games digitally, it should work on every Xbox console moving forward. Full stop. There's no reason why it shouldn't. If you're a PlayStation owner, every game that you buy digitally on a PlayStation should work on any PlayStation moving forward. Full stop. There's no reason at this point why these consoles should not have backwards compatibility with digital games. It just makes no sense. All right, next one. Let's see. Let's get rid of that and get. What the heck with these pop-ups? All right, some DC talk, guys. Hey, how about that? There's a little bit of DC talk today. All right, Matt Reeves confirms the Batman sequel is filming this year. He also teases some surprises for the fans. So I don't know if you know this, but yesterday was the Golden Globes, and a little director named Matt Reeves happened to go to it. Why did he go to it? Because his boys who made the Penguin were up for some awards. And did you hear? Colin Farrell won. But Christina Milioti, whatever her name is, she didn't win, but Colin Farrell did. Anyway, that's exciting. But here's the news that everybody wants to talk about. The news is, where did it go? There we go. So this is from Joe Blow. It says, nobody likes to hear that the highly anticipated movie, The Batman 2, has been delayed, especially when it's a major franchise sequel. Yet, even after being pushed back a full year, Matt Reeves remains confident in the next Batman and has provided an update on the timeline. Speaking on the red carpet at last night's Golden Globes, Matt Reeves said that despite the Batman shifting to 2027, Warner Brothers and DC are on track to begin filming later this year. He says, quote, I can tell you that we're shooting this year and we're excited about it. I can't really tell you anything about it except that we're really excited about it. Adding to this, Matt Reeves teased that not only will some key players be returning, but the Batman sequel will also be bringing in some fresh cast. I'm really excited to be making it and to get our cast back together and to get new people involved, and we're really excited about it. We're doing something that absolutely continues where the story came from, but is something that I hope people are gonna be really surprised about. Guys, I know you all know this, but we can calm down. We can calm down. Those of you all out there who are freaking out because the Batman got pushed back, it's never going to come out, it's delayed, it's not happening. Well, it's happening. Matt Reeves confirms the filming starts this year. He's working on it. It's going to happen. It's coming. They're going to film it. He has some big surprises, big things coming. He's excited about it. But people just have to be patient. It sucks. Yes, people want things now. We live in a world where everybody wants what they want right now. Trust me, I want things right now. But, you take a look, you go back, like just think of a time when we didn't have the internet and we didn't have this going on. We wouldn't have this kind of conversation. Like all of the news that we would get about the Batman would be through our local newspapers and through magazines. And if you think about it, like that news that came out about the Batman being delayed till 2027, we wouldn't have heard about it for probably I don't know, 3 weeks after they decided about it or 4 weeks after they decided about it. So, the fact that we get everything so fast now, everybody just wants answers now, wants what they want right now. And I think that listen to Matt Reeves, listen to James Gunn. They've both said, look, it's coming. It's coming. We're making it. The people that are out there saying, oh, it's going to get canceled. Look, I was one of them. I really believed that it was going to get canceled. It's not. It's coming. So it's coming. Believe it. It's happening. It sucks that it's taking so long, but it's happening. So just be confident, be comfortable. It's coming. Especially, look, the Penguin did as well as it did. Even on that red carpet, he was talking about they're coming up with some ideas for a continuation for more from the Penguin. They have ideas, things. They're still coming up with ideas to build more of that universe. Now, that tells you two things there. One, they're not going to cancel this. There's no way they're going to cancel this if it's being that successful. And two, it is 100% separate from the DCU. Full stop. There you have it. So get excited. If you're a fan of the Batman saga, crime saga, whatever it's called, get excited. It's coming. It's just going to be a little bit longer. And while you're waiting, watch some Creature Commandos. Get ready for Superman, Supergirl, all these great things coming because you got other DC content to be excited for as well. All right. Let me know your thoughts, though, in the comments below. I want to hear what you have to say. Andre says, the wait is painful. I get it, man. I get it. Man, it was time. For people screaming that Gunn ruined the Matt Reeves universe, Matt was happy during that interview. He was happy during that interview. And, he's... What's he going to do? I mean, he's happy. Yeah, he's given time and he's making the movie how he wants to make it. I don't know what else you can say about that. Trevon says, hopefully the Batman Part 2 doesn't get unfavorable comparisons to The Dark Knight. You mean like every comic book movie, specifically DC movie? This is the next Dark Knight. This is the next Dark Knight. This is the next Dark Knight. Every single DC movie that ever gets made is called The Next Dark Knight. All right, guys. So I want to get into the main topic here. And I want you guys to obviously throw in the comments once I start doing this what you think are going to be the movies that make $1 billion this year. And I know some of them may match what you say, some of them may not match what you say, some of them, you may not agree with what I say, you may actually agree with everything I say. There may be more than the 5 I say that make $1 billion. There may be less than what I say, but regardless, I think 2025 is looking to be an exciting time for movies. I think we have quite a schedule of movies coming up, and it can be a lot of fun this year, especially if I get a chance to go see even half of the movies I want to see this year. This is going to be a blast for movies. And I can't say a year that I've been probably the last time I was this excited for a year of movies. I honestly, I can't remember a time like for an entire year of movies. Like, this is an exciting time. It really is. And I'll say this. I have 5 movies that I think are going to have the best chance at making $1 billion. I have 4 honorable mentions I'm going to talk about before I get into those 5 films. But these 5 films I think have a really, really good shot at making $1 billion. Do a poll, Slav. Critic Chris says, do a poll, Slav, and see which has most chance of making that much. Trayvon says, Superman will make $2 billion. I'm standing on that. Anyways, so first up, I'm going to pull this up here. What happened? Oh, that's not what I want. I want that. There we go. These are my honorable mentions. So we got How to Train Your Dragon, Zootopia 2, Wicked 2, and Michael. These are my honorable mentions, and I'm going to talk about them real quickly here. How to Train Your Dragon is most likely going to get very, very close to $1 billion, if not making $1 billion. People love that movie, that first movie. I know so many people who love that first How to Train Your Dragon, and really that whole series. The fact that they're making it live action, the fact that the director who made the first movie is directing this, the first that they're making it so true to the first film in a lot of ways. Gerard Butler's coming back to play his character from the animated movie in this. There's a lot of factors that are really playing into this that you really make this like, hey, this is going to be something special. The only thing that concerns me is I think it's too soon. I think it's too soon to take a movie that is barely 15 years old and already jumped to the live action here. And I look at this and I say, How to Train Your Dragon, okay, this could be cool, this could be a lot of fun, but is it going to hit the kids, or is this more nostalgia bait? Is this going to be more about nostalgia? And if it's all about nostalgia, it's not going to get everybody in the seats, because you need to hit the kids. With this movie, kids need to get in there, and it's more than it's the nostalgia just isn't going to do it. So I think it has a chance, but then again, I think it may falter a little bit. Zootopia 2, look, the first Zootopia is a blast. I love that first one. It's a lot of fun, and you can't ever really count out Disney. And sometimes they have huge hits, sometimes they don't. They've struggled recently, but the first Zootopia is so much fun, and so many people like that movie. I think that this is one that can do it. But then again, you take a look at their recent struggles, maybe it just doesn't do it. That's kind of why I put it on my honorable mentions. I could push this to making $1 billion. Like, if I were to put 6, this probably would be my 6th one. But it's hard because Disney has their recent struggles, but then you also don't want to count them out. It's really tough. It really is tough. Wicked 2, look, Wicked came out a couple months ago and was a massive hit. And I think it's a final run to it may even be in theaters still, but I think it made around like 600 million, 700 million maybe. And I know that's not a billion, but people loved that movie. People loved it. And I think because of how big the first one was, I do think it has a chance to make $1 billion. Is it going to make a billion? That's why it's not on my list to make a billion. It's on my honorable mentions that, hey, it could, but I don't think it's going to. But it's there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but I think it could get close. I think it's definitely going to make more than the first one did. Uh, a billion, though, that's pushing it, but it could. And then the final one of my honorable mentions is Michael. Michael, I think, is going to be a huge hit. But, when you get with these biopic films, you never know what you're going to get sometimes. I take a look back a few years back, we had that Queen biopic film, we had the Elton John one, both of which were good in their own right, but they weren't anything like overly spectacular. Like, I enjoyed them, but they just weren't great. But this one could be fantastic and amazing. And Michael Jackson, like, who doesn't love Michael Jackson? Like, if you're somebody who doesn't enjoy Michael Jackson to some degree, are you even a fan of music? Michael Jackson was a staple in the music industry for so long. And yes, he had a background and his story is very, very convoluted and it's very intriguing. And whether you believe what happened or not, but that's the question. I don't know how much they're going to touch on that in this movie. And that's the stuff that I think can make or break this movie. And depending on how they handle it, what they handle, and where they go with it, is what will determine how much money this makes. So those are my honorable mentions. All right. Now, for my first movie. Now, these are no particular order. I'm not saying that these are the movies in any order that I think this one's going to definitely make $1 billion. This one isn't. These are just movies I'm going to say, look, I think these have the highest chance. These 5 movies that I'm going to say, these 5 movies have the highest chance of making $1 billion this year, in my opinion. This is my opinion. These 5 movies. All right. So the first one I'm going to talk about, Superman. Look, I know I sit here and say constantly, I think the high end for this movie is between $700 and $800 million. I say it all the time, but I'm telling you this now. It does have the potential of making $1 billion. Look, it does have a lot going against it. Absolutely. The mishandlings of the DCIP from the past 2 Warner Brother regimes, the larger audience needs to be drawn back to the table. And I am not 100% sold on this movie doing that yet. I'm not. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, well, there's so much negativity, people yelling and screaming. Look, that vocal minority doesn't mean shit to this. It doesn't. It being smack dab in the middle of Jurassic World and Fantastic Four, it doesn't necessarily help it. But if it is a good movie, then it's not going to really hurt it that much either. You see, the one thing that people often ignore when they sit there and say, well, Superman being between Jurassic World and Fantastic Four is a death notice for it. Like, it's terrible. If it's going to lose so much money because of it. That's not how it works, people. If it's a good movie, I don't care if it's sitting between Avatar and Avengers Endgame. If it's a good movie, it's going to make money. It's that simple. Like, that's how movies work. That's how the audience looks at things. They want to see a good movie. They're going to see a good movie. So Superman sitting between Fantastic Four and Jurassic World right now, yes, it's not a good look, but if it's a good movie, it doesn't really hurt it. So while I sit there and I say, look, Yeah, I think it's gonna make between 7 to 8, 850, somewhere around there, maybe. That's what I really believe. Like, in my heart, that's what I believe. But I would be lying if I said, "Look, I don't." I would be saying I would be lying if I said I don't think that there's a potential for a billion, because I think there is. Just because you take a look at what happened with that trailer. That trailer, if that trailer didn't do as well as it did, this would not be on my list. It wouldn't have even been on my honorable mentions. But because how well that teaser trailer did, and because of the excitement and the discussion out there, that's why it sits where it sits right now. It is. Like that's the biggest reason, and we'll see how the marketing goes from here to July. Maybe my mind changes, but as of right now, I think that's a good it's a good possibility that it can make $1 billion. Next up is Fantastic Four. Look, Fantastic Four. Realistically, I'm going to tell you this. My expectation, realistically, my realistic expectation for this movie is between 600 and 700 million dollars. I'm going to be honest with you. It's what I believe it is. But I would also be lying, like I said with Superman, if I didn't say I believe that there is a chance for it to make $1 billion. It does have an uphill battle after 3 bad Fantastic Four movies. It does. We can't sit here and say, look, you may have enjoyed the 2 from the early 2000s. You may have even enjoyed the one by, what was his name, Josh Trank or whatever. But let's face facts, those movies were not good. Let's also not act like the MCU hasn't struggled as of late. Sure, Deadpool and Wolverine gained back some trust, but Captain America, Brave New World could really hurt the MCU. And even Thunderbolts could hurt the MCU. And the fact that those both come out before Fantastic Four could hurt Fantastic Four. And that is kind of something to worry about. Now, we also have to take a look at it goes up against Superman. It comes out, what, a week after Superman? Now, much like Superman, if it's a good movie, it shouldn't matter. However, it has a lot going against it, just like Superman. However, what it has going against it is a lot more recent than Superman. If Captain America and Thunderbolt sucks, and the MCU has been struggling like it is, well, that's not a good look. So it has the potential for $1 billion. And let's not, mistake, like, there's the potential for Robert Downey Jr. showing up. People may just go because of that. Like, that right there is probably $100 million in the box office because of that right there. People love Pedro Pascal. There's another $150, $200 million right there. But if the story's good, if RDJ does show up in some form or fashion, it can make $1 billion. It can. But it does have an uphill battle. It really does. It really does. What are you guys saying over here? Critic Chris says, I think Brave New World would be better than Thunderbolts. I don't know, man. I don't know. Matthew Got It says, I do think Man of Steel doesn't get the credit it deserves. Had it made $1 billion and because of BVS. Yeah. Critic Chris, I didn't care for 2 Jurassic World films. I read this new one will be the last. Last as 2 follow-ups won't be made, but we'll see. Andre Oliveira. Oh, whoa, where'd it go? If Brave New World and Thunderbolts flop and suck, Fantastic Four is cooked. That's yeah. I mean, that's the danger right there. That is the danger. That is the danger. All right. So those are my first 2 picks. My third one. Oops, gotta click over there. Lilo and Stitch, guys. I know I just talked about Disney a little bit ago, but I'm gonna say this movie is more likely than the first 2 movies I said. All right, this movie here, realistically, I think is going to make between 950 million to 1.2 billion. Realistically, I don't see how this movie doesn't make $1 billion. Look at that. Just look at him. Look how adorable Stitch looks. First off, they did a fantastic job with that. I'm like, look at him. So that looks fantastic. People love Stitch right now. Lilo and Stitch. My daughters, all right, love Stitch, Lilo and Stitch. They've been watching Lilo and Stitch for the last year and a half, if not 2 years, almost on repeat. My oldest daughter, who is 11 years old now, my youngest daughter, who's 4. That's the age range my daughters here are watching it. I love Lilo and Stitch. I have friends who love Lilo and Stitch. So you're talking about such a huge age gap of people who are going to want to see this movie. This movie is going to do gangbusters. And if they can capture the magic of the original animated movie, that's it. And here's the thing. Even if they don't capture the magic exactly, look at what Moana 2 did in theaters, which by all accounts, that movie sucked. I haven't seen it. But by all the accounts, it is not as good as the first one. And it's making almost $1 billion in itself because people loved the first one so much. People love Lilo and Stitch. This movie, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, man, you guys, this movie's going to do gangbusters. Otito says 7 flops from DC. I'm assuming since general audience don't care deeply about that stuff, unlike comic fans, mean that it won't flop like the rest. Matthew Goddard says, I'm not sold on Pedro as Reed, not a fan of Disney, MCU, and the slightest post-Avengers, but I've always liked Fantastic Four comics in the old days. I mean, that's the thing. Some people feel that way. Like, they're just going to be like, I want to see Fantastic Four finally. So, hope for life. I'm hoping Lilo and Stitch actually makes $40 billion or maybe more than we get Lilo and Stitch films, like maybe Leroy and Stitch and Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch the Glitch. I don't know if we'll get all that, but, you know. Andre says, I'm always forgetting about that one. I agree. Stitch brand is strong AF. Yes. Jalen Harris. We'll see, but I don't know. Andre says, I'm always forgetting. I just read that. Matthew Goddard says, they killed off Superman too soon and didn't make a sequel to Man of Steel in 10 years' time. They only have themselves to blame. Henry deserves so much better. Very true. All right. The next one is Jurassic World Rebirth. Look, everyone loves to talk about how the last 3 hit $1 billion. The difference is the last one was not that good, and people know it. Even the people who were fans of the last trilogy talk about how the last one wasn't that good. Realistically, I think this movie is going to make between $800 to $900 million. So yes, I think it has potential to make $1 billion. I do. But the biggest difference is the star power of this movie compared to the last 3. Scarlett Johansson is a star. Yes, there's no doubt about it. But if I go to my mother and say, do you know who Scarlett Johansson is? She has no idea. If I go to my fiance, say, do you know who Scarlett Johansson is? She has no idea. If I go to them and say, do you know who Chris Pratt is? They know exactly who he is. Not only that, but you had Bryce Dallas Howard. You had other stars in there that you could connect to, like you could ask, like my mom would know. Scarlett Johansson, people don't really know. Sure, maybe by face. Like if you look at her face, you're like, okay, I know who she is because I know her face. But by name, you're not going to sell by name. Same with Mahershala Ali. Mahershala Ali, he is a fantastic actor. But again, you're not going to sell by name necessarily. So this movie is going to be sold in that way, like you sell the last trilogy with Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard. You're not going to sell it that way. And then the third one where you brought back the original cast. It's going to be interesting to see how they try to market and sell this movie. So that's number 1. Number 2, we have yet to hear the premise. I mean, we've got a little bit of it, but the marketing hasn't started yet. So I can't really talk much about that. I can't blame that on that because the marketing really hasn't started. All right. But like I said a little bit ago, this movie's battling two mega films, just like Superman and Fantastic Four. If it's a good movie, it has nothing to worry about. If it's a subpar movie and the other two are good, well, it's going to get blown out of the water. So you kind of have that going against it. There's enough money to go around for all three of those movies to do well. Now, is there enough movie for all three of those movies to make $1 billion? I don't know about that. But there is enough movie. There's enough money for all three to be successful. But I can't say that there's enough money for all three of those movies in July to make $1 billion. Let's see. Matthew says, Sam Neill and the others in the last one was why I watched it. Again, that's why anybody watched the last one, I think, honestly. Jalen says, bro, the fact that Blade is in a goddamn Dino movie and not his own is a crime in its own right. Hope for Life. I'm so sick of Jurassic World. The original Jurassic Park films were the best, and I feel they can never be topped. Matthew says, I didn't like Jurassic World Part 1, but it made a lot of money. It really did. It made a lot of money. All right, and finally, the last one I think will make $1 billion. I mean, come on. Jurassic. Avatar. What is it? Fire and Ash. I almost put Snow White on here. I was thinking maybe it should be Snow White. No. Honestly, Avatar, Fire and Ash. Realistically, this movie is going to make 1.2, 1.5, something like that. It's an Avatar movie. It's James Cameron. Look, I'm not a fan of these movies. I didn't like the first one. I still haven't seen the second one. But we know what it's going to do. We know what it's going to make. For some reason, people just like these movies. I don't know why. I don't get it. Do you get it? I don't get it. But people like them, so people watch them, and they make a lot of money. And there you have it. So, yeah. Jalen says, Avatar's always going to make $1 billion. Maybe $3 billion this time. No. The first one didn't make, or the second one didn't make as much as the first one. So, I don't know. Matthew says Avatar 4 has Michelle Yeoh in it as well. Does it? Critic Chris says, I only watched first Avatar, didn't care for them. That's how I am, Critic Chris. I just, first one didn't catch my fancy, didn't even watch the second one. Trayvon says Avatar will make $1 billion, if not $2 billion in its sleep. I don't think it'll make $2 billion. $1 billion, probably. But, yeah. Andre says the second one is so much better than the first. Is it? I don't know. Maybe one day I'll watch it. Maybe one day where I'm really bored and have nothing else to do and I just turn it on. I got a decent movie set up in my living room, so maybe I'll do it one time. I don't know. But what do you guys think? Like, are there any movies you think I missed? Do you think I missed anything? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys think. For sure. Shout out to my members, Goober316. Trayvon, Just a Guy on YouTube, Man It Was Time, and James Artis. All right. Well, it's that time, guys. Close time. All right. Here, Jurassic Park Rebirth going to play out just like Fast X box office. Maybe. Kevin Davis also says Avatar Fire and Ash 2.5 to 2.7. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's outrageous. Trayvon says Fantastic Four has more of an uphill battle than Superman. Always remember Man of Steel. Fantastic Four. Yeah. Kevin Davis, Zootopia 2 going to be family film of 2025. I think Lilo and Stitch is going to take that. Look, I love the first Zootopia, and I hope Zootopia 2 does really well because I want to see it. But I have a weird feeling. Like, I don't think there's a fully trust in the Disney animated films right now. Although Moana 2 is doing really well. So I don't know. Like, it's really hard to tell with Disney animated films right now. Hope for Life. I think Avatar 3 is going to end up making over 900 billion. 900 billion? Matthew got it. I think the story as loose as it was told in the first one. Yeah, guys. Hope for Life says, you didn't talk of any horror movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer coming out in July of this year. I think it is. Horror movies don't typically make that much money. That's kind of why I didn't talk about them. It's just kind of a fact. There's a lot of horror films, and if you want me to, I'll do a show this month as well. I'll talk about, horror films. I'll talk about whatever. Like, I love doing that kind of stuff. I love talking about upcoming films and stuff like that. So I can do that for this show. Absolutely. No problem. Andre says, either way, Disney wins 2025. Disney wins every year. Critic Chris, I think Avatar will make over $1 billion because it's James Cameron and stuff. I won't be seeing it. So yeah, Avatar's going to make over $1 billion. Matthew got it, says, yeah. Are they bringing back the old cast for I Know What You Did Last Summer? I think they're bringing back... I think they are bringing one or two people back. I don't know if the whole cast. Is Jennifer Love Hewitt coming? I thought I saw someone who was coming back for it. I thought. Let's see. Looking right now. Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt is. On Google says Jennifer Love Hewitt is. Oh, it even says Freddie Prinze Jr. I thought he died. Didn't he die? I thought he died. I haven't seen the first one since it came out, so what do I know? I don't know. Anyways. All right, guys. I'm getting out of here. WWE starts in like 25 minutes, so I'm going to go get myself ready to watch some WWE. That's what I'm going to go do. But guys, thank you so much for coming by tonight. Remember, Thursday, we got the Watchtower DC Talk on Thursday. Don't miss it, 8:30 p.m. Should be a good one, hopefully. I was really hoping for a Daredevil trailer today. Man, it didn't happen. That sucks. Oh, well. But yeah, guys, thank you for stopping by today. It was a good show. With that said, I will catch you all, hopefully all of you, on Thursday for the Watchtower. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. This is the Last Free Talk Podcast. See you.